Hello, my green skins. And today I have a cold. But I'm going to try to go through this as best I can to do my love letter to Deep Space Nine. And wow, you know what? I gotta say it, and I keep saying it time and time again. Probably one of the best sci-fi shows of all time. So let's break this bad boy down. I'm going to start talking about my fun with the show and how I found it and how I feel about it. My first little honest breakdown. So this show became one of my favorite sci-fi shows simply by some of the acting. Now, I'm going to get into some of the actors because, geez, that's going to be its own thing, because there are some amazing actors in this that I really do feel did a great job. And I do enjoy this show a little more than I enjoy others, and that's how this kind of became a thing for me. At first, I remember when I first started watching this, I have never been a big Star Trek or Star Wars fan. I have always been kind of a weird retro, Dune, other like weird sci-fi. I'm kind of like, I like something that's a little more alien than normal. And Star Trek kind of had Star Wars definitely has like a human aspect to it. And so does Star Trek, that just kind of I've never liked. But Deep Space Nine breaks down both the alien and the human aspects really well. And it is probably due to the acting. Like I gotta keep saying it. It is the acting itself is phenomenal in this show. And I'm gonna break down the acting later. Yeah, no, they really did an amazing job. And as from what I heard, this show has had some problems. And we're going to break down the problems with a couple controversies. Oh, Babylon 5. That's going to be the controversy we have to definitely talk about. There's a couple others I'm going to have to bring up later, but there's a belief that one of the creator, or one of the guys who created Babylon 5, sent stuff to the creators of Star Trek. It's believed that he got turned down and then they made Deep Space Nine. Now, I disagree here, and I still think Babylon 5... I actually think Babylon 5 is a little weaker than Deep Space Nine in a lot of ways. The best way to put it for Babylon 5 for me versus Deep Space Nine is Babylon 5 feels very sci-fi channel, where Deep Space Nine actually seems like a company actually like working on something. I feel like the sets are a little more faker. The aliens are a lot better. I think they have some really cool alien looks, but everything else looks weaker in some ways. And that's the big problem with this franchise. It really did. And so people have been saying for years, oh, they stole it. Apparently there was even a lawsuit I don't know a lot about. But no, they really did gun for this. Like, they were not happy. And if I felt like someone stole my material, I'd be pissed off too. So, yeah, I can understand the anger. I don't know. The other big controversy is Dax. They got rid of one of the actresses, apparently. Now, I don't know anything. I'm not going to go too much into that detail. I believe you guys should look that up yourself. But the death of a main character is kind of sad. And that is kind of a sad little thing they did. And I'm really, to this day, I've kind of been like, well, that kind of sucks that they removed her that way. But it also worked to the story really well. And in some ways, it gave a character, at the time, someone they reintroduced to the franchise from TNG, they actually added to something. And I actually do like that. So we're going to break down the actors now. So, I'm not going to do everybody, but I'm going to try to give everyone a nod here. But I'm going to go with the ones I really do think were great actors. Now, Avery Brooks is one of the most underrated actors of all time, and is probably one of the best actors of all time. I, to this day, think he should have played Mace Windu. I think this is a guy who... I honestly believe Samuel L. Jackson stole this man's career. Avery Brooks is an amazing actor. Phenomenal. beyond anything I have ever, like, his acting in this is so good. He had reflections, he has attitude, he has environments. He is the reason to watch this. He is the motherfucking Cisco. And there's a reason they call him the motherfucking Cisco. He is that fucking good. And to him is his first in command, Naya Vizor? I apologize, Naya, if I got that wrong. Or Nana. Kira Nerys. Kira, again, a phenomenal actress. Probably some of the best emotional moments are with Kira Nerys because of they kind of create her as a very hard ass, someone who's gone through hell, had all these horrible moments in her life, and her just kind of building up herself and becoming something more. She is phenomenal in this. Next level, top tier. Next to her is a lifelong friend to Mr. Cisco, Terry Furnell and Nicole DeBenor, the Daxes. Terry, okay, she's okay. I think she was the weakest of the actresses, and I would say Nicole did a better job in some ways, but I thought Terry was kind of weak. And I know that seems kind of annoying, or because it's kind of mean, but I really do think she was weaker in the roles. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like that I just said that. Renee Adoris, a.k.a. Odo, a.k.a. half the fucking video game characters I think are amazing in franchises. This motherfucker can act. And some of his roles and his love interest that he gets later is absolutely beautiful. He is a really good actor. And it's, R.I.P., sad that he's gone. Now, to his side, the other guy that worked with him a lot, Amron Shiraran, a.k.a. Quark. Both these two actors did such a good fucking job together. Holy crap, these guys were amazing. There are conversations between them that should be taught. You should be literally playing scenes from Deep Space Nine that should be taught in acting classes. Just those two guys having a conversation. Now, while we're going to be talking about a character that has a lot of friends and a lot of interesting dynamic in this, Andrew Siduric, aka Julian Bashir. Now, this guy, again, another amazing actor. He has moments where he's great. He has moments where he's not. Like, he's really good at what he does. I enjoy him. I actually think he's a great... Again, I never see him in anything. I wish I saw him in more. Now, Colin McCleve, or McCleve, a.k.a. Miles O'Brien, I see this guy everywhere. This guy's still acting. I think he's, even to this day, I think he's still acting. I remember seeing him in something not too long ago. And he is a phenomenal actor. And Miles O'Brien from the original Star Trek Next Generation, he plays their engineer. He gets basically tuned up from the beaming thing. There's a really good emotional moment where Picard beams him away, and there's a great moment. Between those two actors, it's so fucking good. Now, the big one. Andrew Robertson, a.k.a. Garrick. This guy is an amazing actor. And is, I still think, another fucking underrated guy. He's more well known through the Dirty Harry, where he played the serial killer that was murdering kids. But this guy is good. This guy is phenomenally good. And plain, simple Garrick. I didn't have to watch that show. I'm going to wake up before I die. I'm going to look up at someone and go, just before I die, I'm going to be a dementia out of my mind, half brain dead. And I'm going to look at somebody. I'm going to go, don't worry. It's just me. Plain, simple Garrick. And then I'm going to die. That's how I think my life is. Because that is burned in my brain. Now, his relationship with Julian Bashir is also really good. It's kind of this, is it not? Who is it not? Now, another great one is the villain. The main, he becomes the main villain. Marco Almaldro, a.k.a. Ducat, a.k.a. plays a lot of bad guys. This guy is so fucking good as Ducat. And in later seasons, he just gets better. and he becomes a like a slow tyrant. Like first he's like the jackboot soldier, and then you turn out like the more you find out about this guy and how much of a freaking monster he is in this franchise, it works really well. Now there's also the Cedric Lofton, aka Jake Sisko, and his friend Nog, A.R.I.P., Arten Ellsberg. These two guys also have a good role, but I'm going to talk about them more in the story. But this cast is fucking amazing. And I haven't even talked about the later guy, Mr. Worf, aka still a great Michael Dorn, one of the best actors out there, and is in almost every. And like if you're talking old school sci-fi voice acting, he's in there. This is a phenomenal cast, and this cast is huge. Like there's other people that made introductions. There's people that showed up, and like Star Trek was kind of known for that, where you'd have these guys who would later in life play bigger roles. Or famous people show up and play roles because they want to play roles, aka, what's his name there? Not Kramer. I can't remember his name now. The bald guy from Seinfeld. George. George Can't Stand Ya. George Can't Stand Ya. That's who it was. And like, this is really good. Like, fuck the Rocks in Voyager. But there's a star-studded cast. Next, we're going to get to the story, and then we'll get to the visuals. The story is going to be the most fun. Our story begins with the Sisko, unfortunately not being allowed to conquer the Borg, and having himself lose his family. Well, actually, no. Okay, no, really, because we all know the Sisko would have wiped out the Borg and made everyone his bitch. But anyway. In actuality, the story begins with a loss during the Star Trek The Next Generation Borg arc, which is probably the best arc in Star Trek The Next Generation. I hate to say it, Star Trek The Next Generation has a lot of bad episodes, but the good ones, the really fucking good ones, are the ones that are actually... is like, there are a couple arcs that were really good. So, Sisko is on a ship that's about to be destroyed. He loses his wife, ends up getting a promotion and a command of the Deep Space Nine. Now, he's a single father taking care of his son after the loss of his wife. So... it's caused some problems, and he doesn't want to take this position. But he's being kind of like, well, no, we need you here because we're worried about the Cardassians in reinvading and taking over Bajor, because the Cardassians are a horrid race that has slowly basically invaded another world and basically went nuts. Like they went pretty dictator. Think of a certain group in Poland. Yes, I'm talking about that medieval period when a certain organization conquered Poland. I can't say much with YouTube. Grr. Anyway, he's here now to add a Starfleet presence. And this is where we meet the cast of characters, including Jake Sisko, which Jake is actually... I actually like Jake for the story arc. I'm going to be bouncing a bit, and I do apologize because there's going to be a lot of bouncing. This is a love story. This is a love letter to the franchise, and I'm going to be gushing about it the entire time. So don't take that with a huge grain of salt. So after one of the most amazing acting I have ever fucking seen in Star Trek, Sisko and Picard having a conversation, those two having that conversation is so fucking good. Oh, well, we don't think we've ever met. No, we have met. And he brings up Locutus of Borg, where Picard got turned into a Borg. That, him just looking at him, and it's kind of that thing where there's this anger between those two. Now, it takes a strange twist where Sisko finds out that he is the emissary to the prophets, the Bajorans, gods. And so there's a situation where they're starting to try to talk to people and find out the gateway to the gateway to the prophets, or the temple of the prophets. So they start this whole race to try to find this secret wormhole. This, well, not the secret wormhole, the secret gate. And when they finally find the gate to the prophets, Cisco gets sent into like a weird dream state, and then he gets sent back. Now, Deep Space Nine has found a way to travel to the Alpha Quadrant through a stable wormhole, which has now put Bajor on one of the most annoying. If someone sends me a thing, I'll turn that off. Bajor is now target number one, and is now the new gateway to the Alpha Quadrant, which is this massive travel. Apparently getting there takes forever. And this is a big problem. So it's basically a story of these people on a space station dealing with all the craziness of living on a space station on this high... You know what it kind of reminds me of? Very similar to a cowboy scenario. I've actually heard people say it's almost like cowboys in space. They have found the gateway to another area, and they're the only saloon in the shop. They're the only inn, the only place where you can get information, resources, get bidding stuff. So it becomes a hub of not only aliens from other planets, but other organizations. And not only that, Cisco is not only has to deal with all that, he has to deal with the fact that he's also a literal avatar to gods. And, you know, if you've ever played Ultima, you know what it's like to play an avatar. It's not fun, unless you kill Lord British. Murdering Lord British is the best way to do it. Tee-hee. This is my Ultima now, Lord British. Now that we've had kind of explained the story, now I'm just going to kind of break down the rest of all the little story arcs and some of the ideas that they have with this, because there's some fun little like emotional energy stuff. Like this is just basically a rough layout of the story. Now let's break down kind of everything that happens in the story. So let's be honest, the world building for this franchise, this is the one that actually does the most world building, and it probably does it the best. I mean, that space station left you so many hooks. From, you know, plain simple Garrick, the secret spy, or, you know, who knows who he actually is in the background. You have yourself Odo, an alien from the Alpha Quadrant, someone who's has no idea who he is, and then later finds out that, you know, he's part of a group of changelings who are somewhat racist. I guess they're racist. Are they specious? I guess would be the best way to put it. They don't like solids. They don't trust solids. So they try to control and manipulate solids. I mean, Illuminati style. You got yourself, you know, Bashir has his own arcs of stories. Like, there's so much here, but there's so much world building. I mean, the secret agent, the Black Ops organization, Section 31. I think I said that right. I don't know if it's 31 or 51. I keep wanting to say 51. But Section 31, for example, their alien invasions, they're dealing with all the stuff that they do and all the secret stuff that they do in the background. I mean, this had the best world building of all time. And you do get to see some interesting stuff. Like, you get to see some of the greatest world building for the Ferengis. A race no one gave a shit about. An actor, 3 actors, put their freaking heart and soul into creating a race of aliens that not only worked for the franchise, but have become somewhat of a mainstay now because of their work. The Cardassians were also really heavily implied. Like, this actually showed the Cardassians on a level that we never saw them. And a lot of times, other than the Klingons, you never really did get to see much of the other aliens outside of Starfleet. Like, you get a little things with the Beta Z people, but that's about it. It was like a little bit of A, B. This you get to see. And the political drama in this is better than anything Star Wars tried. Like, Jesus fuck, Star Wars failed miserably at doing political drama. This does political drama right. And then you have the Kira versus I can't remember her name now. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. She's second villain. She's the second main villain in the franchise. Um, oh, I can't remember her name. I'll put her name down later. Their dichotomy, them one being a believer and one being a someone who wants to use her religious thing to kind of hide behind in a shield and a way to climb for power. Where Kira believes in the prophets and lives and does stuff. This other one doesn't. And it's just kind of like this interesting stuff. The slow decline and fall of a maniacal maniac in Dukat, and the rise of an alien invasion force. Like, I mean, you have 3 wars in this franchise. 3. You have the Klingon War. You have the Dominion War, technically, and then you have technically the Cardassian. You have the Cardassian Klingon War, and then you have the Klingons and Earth kind of going back at it again, and the Klingons versus the Federation again, and then you finally have the Dominion War. There's 3 wars in this franchise, and it's all done well. So that's the thing. Like, this is such a good series. Like, this is one of those series that I would almost go as far as saying there are very few series out there that I have what I like to call skip episodes. They're just not worth it. There's very few in this, and a lot of them are in the first season. A couple in the second, but a lot of them are in the first season. The next one is these. Like, I would even go as far as saying that this show is so good for that. And like you get to follow the love interests. We get to see Cisco's son and Rom's son Nog grow up together. You get to see them become 2 different people. One becomes a reporter. Cisco's son becomes a reporter. Nog becomes a Starfleet, the first Ferengi to ever enter into Starfleet and succeed. This show has so much, and I really do feel this was the best show the best Star Trek show of all time. If you haven't seen this, you got to watch this. Now I'm going to go through the bad episodes. So, the bad episodes. Why am I doing a good episode count? Because unfortunately there are too many good episodes, even though I think some episodes a lot of people hate are the episodes I don't understand why they hate. Too many good episodes. Like, I will be going as far as saying, other than South Park, which I still think South Park holds up today. If you like South Park, I would say skip the first couple seasons, and right after that, the series gets good. South Park still holds up today. South Park has been a mainstay. It's like Married with Children. I don't think there's a bad Married with Children episode. So, let's talk about the bad episodes. And it's funny what episodes are considered bad to other people and what I consider bad. I hate to say it, a majority of them are very stupid episodes. Alright, in the first season, because everyone knows it, it's that stupid episode, Move Along, or whatever it's called. It's the 1, 2, Garuru. They're dancing through some weird parallel universe that some weird aliens that look like my buddy. Look like my buddy that gained 50 pounds. I hated that freaking... did I ever hate that episode. The next episode I didn't like is the episode where Jetsia falls in love with said alien from another planet. And she's going to stay on said planet. And then the planet starts destabilizing, and it destabilizes for thousands of years. And it's such a weird, stupid episode. It doesn't make sense for that love interest to kick in. This is a person with thousands of years of experience. What the fuck? So it's just kind of awful as a whole. I didn't like that episode. The next episode is the episode, I think it's called Aliens, where the Ferengi end up on old Earth and they're the Roswell incident. I do not like that episode. I think that episode is awful. I think it doesn't make a lick of sense, and I just didn't like it. The last one is the Sword of Kahless. fucking despise the Sword of Kalis. I Something about that episode didn't make a lick of sense. I didn't enjoy it at all. So to me, the Sword of Kalis just kind of sucks. And those are my worst episodes. There are probably others. I remember the baseball episode kind of sucking. Another episodes I remember. I actually did not like the episodes where, although they're good episodes and probably one of the better acted episodes, is the episodes with the where Cisco ends up back in time, or he ends up like in what he thinks is back in time. I didn't like that episode, and I also didn't like the episode where the Tribbles episode. Although a good looking episode, didn't like the episode. So there are a couple episodes that I just really didn't like. That's it. Like, I would go as far as saying you could skip entire seasons of Star Trek Next Generation. You could skip entire seasons of Voyager. There are a lot of fluff episodes in both series. I think they did the most with an insane large library. Like, that was a long episodes that took a while to watch. Like, even this review's probably not going to look as good as it did for my record of Lotus War. But I really don't think I need to do that much. Now we're going to get into my final thoughts. Final thoughts to this show. I wanted to leave out certain bits and pieces just to give you guys stuff. I didn't want to get into the whole prophet and the evil prophet crap that was happening. This show, I still think, like, there has not been a Star Trek series that did it better than this. I would say, if it wasn't for the previous TNG and original Star Trek, I don't think this show, if you're to try to make this show as a separate entity without that other world building, it wouldn't work. But I think this was their peak. And it's sad because I remember back in the day, this show was kind of shit on. Like, it wasn't shit on as bad as Voyager. Voyager really got shit on. Voyager, I would actually say, is a little better than what I expected and has some better moments. But this one was kind of like, oh, they don't really go anywhere. Dude, there's like fucking 3 wars in there, buddy. Fuck off. And I think that this show needs no introduction in a lot of ways. I think it's actually becoming more popular. Thank you to Razor Fist and the Razor Force, because I think he actually put more love into this. This is a great franchise. And probably some of the best Star Trek out there. And this is peak Star Trek. That's my best way to put it. This is peak. This is my favorite Star Trek franchise of all time. I still think this is the best Star Trek series of all time. And I really do think that there are so many good episodes. I also think this is peak sci-fi. I think this is the best sci-fi you will ever see in Star Trek. I would even go as far as saying Star Wars never even comes close. But Star Wars kind of had a Buck Rogers feel to it, because Lucas stole Buck Rogers. Did I say it out loud? I don't mean to say that. Yeah, he stole Buck Rogers. I said it again. Ooh, I'm a naughty boy. Anyway, Star Trek really never came close after this franchise. And I would say go watch Deep Space Nine. Like, I don't know if this is going to be my fastest edit. I'm pretty sick right now. I'm kind of fighting off a cold. But I think this is going to be up there as one of my better edits and my quicker edits, because I don't really want to put too much just to let people go watch this franchise. I'll put some love letter stuff down, but I don't want to go too nuts. And I don't think I have to do what I did with Record of Lotus War, where I had to go and break everything down, because this is Star Trek. This is Deep Space Nine. Like, that's like talking to a Japanese person about fucking Gundam. Like, to anybody from America, anybody that isn't from a foreign country, like, geez, even foreign countries. If I was to say Star Trek, I guarantee you people would be able to whistle or hum something. So I'd like to thank everybody who listened. Please like, subscribe. We do have a Patreon. We also have a Rumble. You can find those in descriptions and links. I'm going to be doing some more links in description as time goes on. Support the channel, help us grow, help us build, help me get an editor so I can make more videos. And we'll see you next time on Orc War Chief Reviews. Ciao.